Our next question this week, Jim, comes from Rodney Esty.
Hot Rod, I tell you, hey,
On a recent experience, you detailed some in 1984. You referred to Biloxi as a shit town. Gulfport, Biloxi is my home now.
Well, okay, it was a shit wrestling town. I never actually saw Biloxi, Mississippi. You know what I saw Biloxi, Mississippi was the interstate from New Orleans and our exit to get off for the Mississippi Gulf Coast Coliseum and the parking lot of the Coliseum and the inside of the Coliseum, and then the fast food places on the little strip on the way back to the interstate that we would stop at. I never actually saw any other part to this day of Biloxi, Mississippi. But we were there every 2 weeks. It didn't fucking draw. It was a huge building, beautiful building, probably seated 10,000 people. And I would say that most of the time we didn't have 2,000 in it. And for the Mid-South territory, that was not a fucking great house. I think even the last Stampede, my God, I can't remember off the top of my head. If it drew so poorly, I can't remember off the top of my head what the house was in Biloxi, even for the last Stampede. But I bet you it wasn't over 4,000 people. I think it was run because of his deal with the Culkins in Jackson, the Curtis family, the Honorable Mr. George C. Culkin. Because they had been on the outs with Watts and Mid-South Wrestling on a few occasions and had run their own, outlaw promotion. That's where the Dream Machine, Troy Graham, worked early on, and Tom Boogaloo Shaft and Pork Chop Cash and all those guys. And they did well for an independent promotion in those days. But I think the deal was he had to run Jackson, he had to run Biloxi. And then they ran spot shows in Greenville and Greenwood, Mississippi. And one time we were in Vicksburg. And I'm glad that was only once because it was a horrible building, as I remember. But Greenville and Greenwood didn't do much. I think we had a scaffold match one time there, did $12,000, and that was sold slap dab out. But Jackson was a big money town, could be. And Biloxi was just bad. But I think that's the towns he had to run for his deal with the Culkins to make them happy because Mississippi was theirs. I miss the old days. Would you name a state or name a city and you could say, okay, that's so-and-so's. That's the promoter. Yeah. And there would be nobody else would dare promote wrestling in that city or that state because it was so-and-so's. And that's the way the business should have been run.
I learned so much about geography from being a wrestling fan at a young age.
Yeah, you not only learned geography, but you learned what territories were next to each other and how far it would be, blah, 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 and all that stuff. It was a wonderful education.
Absolutely.
Back when people used to read and shit.